What if humans aren't the only intelligent life form in the universe? And what if a message that was sent in 1974 by Carl Sagan and Frank Drake at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, which had details about the human species and planet Earth? What if we'd had a response? In this podcast, we're going to discuss what could be a response. So, enjoy. Hello and welcome back to Joe Chambers' Questions Everything podcast. I am once again joined by Simon Young, who is just an expert in all of the areas that we're going to talk about today, in crop circles, in alien phenomena. I consider him the most knowledgeable person in this field that I know, so I'm very pleased to be talking to him about a few different things today. Simon, how are you?
Very well, thanks, Joe. And it's good to see you again.
Good to see you too. How was the
Looking forward to our
introduction?
chat.
Did I big you up enough?
Yeah. All sounds
Yeah.
very good.
All right,
I
I'll take the
appreciate it.
£20 later.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
So it is an interesting time for people interested in this area because we have an object coming towards planet Earth, 3i Atlas. What do you make of that?
There's a lot going on. Yeah. I mean, very mysterious time, as you say. There's lots of activity going on at the moment. This 3i Atlas object, they're calling a comet, that's coming towards in this direction anyway, that was discovered in July this year. Yeah, very weird. It's apparently behaving in a quite a suspicious manner. Even the experts aren't quite sure what it is, whether it is a comet or whether it could be possibly something artificial. We don't know, but apparently it's already passed by Mars and Venus. And it gets the closest to Earth. I think it's December the 16th.
Yeah.
That's when it flies. It's still going to be a very huge distance away from us, but that's when it's going to get its nearest is going to be in December, and then apparently it flies by Jupiter in January. So it's quite curious that it seems to be flying by these planets, and apparently the chances of that happening are quite remote. So it does seem like it's on a journey.
Yes, it does. And I have listened to a few things by Avi Loeb, who's one of the scientists who is looking into this, is Harvard scientist. And one of the things he said that I found really interesting is that the planets are in a line. So if you imagine like a disk and they all rotate and around the sun in that sort of disk formation, and then the Milky Way galaxy also is on its own type of spiral disk. The 3i Atlas is actually traveling on the same plane as the planets, which allows it to come towards us on that plane. But if it was in the gravity of the Milky Way, it would be traveling at a slightly different trajectory. So the chances of that happening are very low. I think it was maybe, I don't even want to guess. I can't remember exactly what I heard. But the chances of that happening are incredibly low, which makes you think, is this something that is deliberate? And like you said, they're on a journey of sorts.
Yeah. That's what it seems. Yeah. Very suspicious. And I think as the days go by and the weeks roll by, I think we're going to learn more.
Yeah.
But yeah, very strange. And I think we spoke about this briefly last time, but it's coming from the constellation of Sagittarius. And it just happens that that's where this wow, they call it the wow signal I mentioned last time we spoke, that came from the same area. So whether that's whether that's just a massive coincidence, but again, I think all these things together make it very intriguing.
and I'm a
Yeah.
Sagittarius, which is an even greater coincidence.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, I
Even
mean,
more spooky.
it can't be
Yeah.
just a rock. So, I've actually
Yeah.
got here some of the anomalies which draw into question what it is. So it seems to have non-gravitational acceleration,
Right.
which means it's speeding up, but not as a result of the gravitation from all these sort of celestial bodies that is passing by.
Mm.
There's an apparent absence of a cloud of gas or dust.
Mm.
It has unusual chemistry, so there's a strong nickel emission, but there's little to no iron. It's blue in color, and has unexpected brightening behavior. The tail it has jets pointing towards the sun, but I actually heard something from Avi Loeb where he says the, the tail is multi-directional. It's going sort of all over the place.
Yeah.
Um, and then, I think I mentioned this earlier, the trajectory, the orbital geometry, um, which is obviously on the plane of the planets, which is what
Mm.
you wouldn't expect.
Mm.
Spatial concentration of some species near the nucleus, um, rapidly changing complex jet structures, and parallels to Oumuamua, which
Yeah.
was the other sort of object where they the scientists who dealt with that one had to devise this idea of an invisible tail. They couldn't accept that it wasn't a comet and that every comet has a tail, but this one just happened to
Mm.
have an invisible tail that we can't see,
Right.
which R.V. Loeb was a bit bemused by that
Yeah.
theory. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting, and I think we probably would agree that, especially in the UK, we don't really get this in the news, but I've started seeing a few
Mm.
things, but it
Mm.
often gets dispatched
Mm.
offhand as to be almost nonsensical.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I think I've only heard about it on news in this country. I think it was a couple of months ago now, and it was the kind of thing that was very flippant. Came at the end of the bulletin. It was no big deal, um, but it seems to be taken more seriously in America. I've seen a few clips on like CNN, and this scientist you mentioned, yeah, he's been doing quite a lot of interviews with some American journalists. But it's funny that in this country, no one seems to be interested. I mean, my colleagues at work, they've got no idea, and I think that the average person in the street got no idea what's going on,
Yeah,
and maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's nothing to be concerned about. But I think it's interesting, and I think we should be interested in this kind of stuff. So
absolutely,
it could be very significant.
definitely.
Um,
And it's
uh,
come at an interesting time in American politics because they've had the government shutdown, and they've still been able to collect photos through telescopes of this body, but they
mm,
haven't been able to grant scientists access to these photos because of the
really,
government lockdown, which
right?
I think they've been able to give and share photos of Mars, but they haven't been able to with this body, which suggests that
Mm,
I think there's probably a realization by people higher up that
mm,
this is something to observe, but we can't just
mm,
let it out to the public. So they try and
mm,
make out like it's nothing. But
mm,
there probably is something more to it than meets the eye. And the fact that
mm.
a very serious scientist like Avi Loeb with lots of credentials is so adamant,
Yeah,
um, he's adamant that it's anomalous and it's worth looking into. And I
mm.
think like any good scientist, he doesn't draw conclusions until he has
Yeah.
like
That's the way to be. I
rigorous
think
evidence. Yeah.
absolutely
Uh,
balanced. Yeah.
and that's the thing. I'm not saying that I know what it is or that I think it's a spaceship.
Mm,
I don't know, but
mm,
I'm listening to
mm,
people who are experts in their field who
mm,
are trying to draw our attention to this. Because it could be, if it is true, even the possibility that
mm.
it's like something coming towards
Yeah.
us, we should know.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting that these scientists, yeah, it's good that they haven't ruled it out. You know, everything's on the table.
Yeah.
It could be just a comet, but it could be something else. So it's
Yeah.
good not to dismiss things and keep an open mind. But yeah, I think the next few weeks are going to be very interesting. See what happens. And apparently, there's another small object that they found. I think only the last couple of days,
Oh dear.
which they're not they're not sure whether it's connected to Three Eye Atlas. But again, the scientist he's mentioned this, I think, only yesterday. There's another thing they're also observing. So yeah,
Not
there's a
another
lot
one.
going on. Yeah, it's just I got another one now coming like buses.
Yeah. Well, but maybe they are
Uh,
galactic buses. Who knows? Um,
yeah, tourists.
yeah. Very interesting stuff. And I think
Yeah,
it links nicely to what we're going to talk about next, which also requires people just to have an open mind to something that could be significant. It might not be.
mm,
No, might not be.
mm,
It might be an elaborate hoax. It might be a piece of art, but it's worth people knowing about, and I don't feel like lots of people do know about. And the thing I'm
mm.
referring to is something that happened in 2001, which is happened in Chilbolton, the
Yeah,
Chilbolton event. Would you like to speak a little
yeah,
bit about that?
yeah. Very interesting. In fact, it actually started in 2000 was when this whole event started to unfold. So Chilbolton, the telescope there is in a very remote place area, obviously away from noise and light pollution. And at the time, I think it was I think actually still is the largest radio telescope in the UK. So it's an important place.
Yeah.
And in 2001, in the field next to the Chilbolton telescope, they found a crop circle, extremely close to the telescope, and no one knew what it was first of all, but it seemed to look like a kind of device, like some kind of piece of equipment
Mm.
in the field. So just checking my notes here to remind myself, but this was August 2000. Um, August 2000. And then the year after that, that's when in that same field there were two more crop circles. Um, the first one was again in August, August the 14th, and that was like a picture of a face.
Mm.
And I've got some pictures actually I can show you, which might be useful.
Yeah.
Hopefully this will show up. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
this is 2001. Sorry, 2001. Both
Yes.
of these in 2001 in the same field.
Yeah.
This came first, so this was on the 14th of August, and then this one came on the 16th of August.
2 days later.
2 days later, yeah, but yeah, the same field. It's interesting that the way that this has been made, the researchers described it to like newspaper print. That these are all just tiny dots, and
Mm.
then from ground level, it's a complete mess. You don't know
Yeah.
what you've got, no idea what you're walking into. It's only when people flew over it that they suddenly realised, oh no, it looks like a face.
Yeah.
Um, and then 2 days later, we've got this diagram,
Yeah.
which seems to be a reply from a message that was sent into space by Frank Drake and Carl Sagan in 1974. And that message was sent into the constellation Hercules. So not Sagittarius, which would have been even more, would have been quite
Yeah.
spooky.
Mm.
But so, yeah, sent to the constellation Hercules. And apparently that particular patch of sky, that's where they believed if there's going to be life out there, that's the area where it's going to be. And the message that we sent basically said where we are, where our place is in our solar system, our DNA, our number sequence, important elements that are on Earth. So all this basic information. And the crop circle that was discovered in 2001 seemed to be a reply to that, but there were some differences. So it seemed to be coming from someone or someone that was from a different different world with a different DNA. A huge population, much bigger than ours, and yeah, really weird. And at the bottom of that diagram, I'll show you that again. So we have that on this particular page here.
Yeah.
So here we've got the picture that we sent into space. This is the reply that was found in the field. And at the bottom there, this seems to be the apparatus that was used by the sender to send this message. And that, in fact, and that picture was seen in the field the year before, which is going to be very hard to see here, but here, so that came in the previous year.
I didn't realize that was the order. I thought the transmission medium was the year after, but that's amazing that it was there the year before, which would have been a mystery. And then I guess it would have turned up the next year in more of a coded way, but recognizable that there's that link between the two things. But yeah, that's incredible. I didn't realize it was that order.
So that's very strange, isn't it? I mean, that narrative is so elaborate. So if we say like the whole thing is fake and it's all made up, and made by a lot of some people with boards and things, to come up with that master plan, is mind blowing.
Yeah, because it means they've been planning to do it a year apart as well.
Yeah, year apart. Yeah,
they've managed to pull it off next to a government telescope, which has surveillance. 2 nights apart from each other, 1 year, and the year before as well. Yeah, incredible.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I have been there, and yeah, it's fenced off. There's cameras everywhere. There's warnings saying government property. So how you would ever get over the fence, make one of these things, and that time of year, you got like about 4 hours of darkness. So to do it, to make that and not be caught, I would consider as impossible. And if you think that
for humans,
and then that for humans, yeah, I think it would be impossible. And then you would have thought that if they see a crop circle on one day, and then they'd be keeping an eye on their fields, and then because 2 days later there's another one there. So you think, well, yeah, maybe at a stretch, a group of hoaxers may have done it once, but to do it in the same thing again, on the second night and no one see anything, is I think that's impossible. Yeah,
and also the face, there were elements of the face where the patches of crops that were remaining were less than a foot wide. So they were very intricate because in order to sort of emboss a face, to actually look like a face, you have to be able to, it's almost like shading. You have to have less dense patches of crops, more thick places where there's crops, and that will create this facial image. And they managed to do that somehow without practice or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. And where do they practice these things? You know, if you're going to make something, you, wherever it is, whatever it is, you've got to learn your craft. You've got to practice.
Yeah.
And these images we're talking about, they've not been seen anywhere else. So to make it, make it spot on the first time round, no mistakes in it, is amazing.
And were they the first crop circles that weren't circular? Because two of them are rectangular shapes.
Rectangular, yeah. I think that those would have been the first that weren't like. You'd had the pictograms started in 1991, so up till 1990 they were just circles mostly. 1991, you've got some circles with like bars in between and glyphs and things, and going more sort of geometric. But this incident, the Chilbolton one, that's the first time you get like a picture, like something you kind of recognise.
Yeah.
So it seemed to be a different method.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So it was the Arecibo message, which is what was sent from Puerto Rico. I think the telescope was called Arecibo.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
In it, it contained our calculation system. So it referenced decimal figures, had our dominant element, which is carbon, the atomic numbers of the elements that create DNA, the formula for DNA, the code and the structure, the dimensions of an average human and our population, and then the graphics of the solar system and the inhabited planets, and then a radio telescope, the transmission device that sent the message. Then, randomly, 27 years later, there was a response which also showed that they have the same counting system, but it showed that their dominant element is silicon, which is interesting.
Silicon, yeah.
They also showed a body which looks like what you would say an alien is, with slightly bigger head and eyes. It showed that their DNA had 3 strands, so they have slightly different DNA to us. Interestingly as well, the message they sent had a correction because during transmission of our message, there was an error. So they sent back a correction to our original message, which again,
very good point. Yeah.
You'd have to understand that. Yeah. To know that. You'd have to be incredibly intelligent on top of artistic and elusive to be able to do this. Then interestingly, they said that they inhabit the 3rd and 4th planets in their solar system, and they have a population of 21.4 billion. And then, like you said, they have a representation of the device they used, which they'd put in the same field in a more detailed and elaborate way the year before. And yet we don't get taught about this or told about the fact that this may be a message from an alien species.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely incredible.
It is incredible.
And so the population, I would say, is probably like sort of 95% of the UK population that has no idea about this event.
Yeah.
Which is, I think extraordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think a bit like Three-Eyed Atlas, I don't think people want to consider the fact that the whole world might completely change. I think it is a little bit disconcerting from the comfort that people derive from their routine of go to work, come home, have dinner, watch Love Island, repeat. I think if you then said, actually, we're not alone in the universe, and we're probably not the most intelligent species in the universe. I think that's probably a bit disconcerting, and it probably plays into the hands of the powerful who want to keep things as they are, so that they can
Mm.
maintain their power, and it doesn't sort of disrupt the structures of power, whether that be governments or religion or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
But
you're right. I think most people don't want to know this. If this is true, yeah, they want to rather sort of bury their head in the sand, and yeah, they don't want to know.
uh, I watched the Chilbolton event documentary on Amazon Prime, and I
Yeah,
watched it
very good.
I watched it the first time, and then I watched it the second time, and I must have missed the end, because there was something about how a laser beam was shot
Mm.
towards Chilbolton telescope, which blew my
I did
mind.
see that in the documentary. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
quite
What that
a
was, I mean, I don't know. It's
it's quite
quite weird, wasn't it? I mean,
to leave on that note as well, not to elaborate or to even like discuss what it could be. It's quite a weird
yeah,
note for the documentary to have ended on.
yeah, yeah. It adds to the intrigue, doesn't it? But yeah, I mean, that's the first time I've heard of that particular event. Um, who knows what that was? Whether it was a trick of the light or a shooting star, I don't know. But as it had, just happened to be going in the same direction as the telescope. Again, what are the chances of that? So maybe there's something in it.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
shooting photons of light. I don't know if that's what satellites do. That might be how they send
perhaps.
signals.
Yeah,
So, but again,
yeah,
I found it a uh, curious way to end a documentary that was all about asking questions or that
yeah,
there aren't obvious answers to. Um, but yeah, I was just wondering if you had
yeah.
any thoughts on that.
No, I said it's the first time I've heard about that particular part of the story, but yeah, very weird. Yeah, I mean, also that whole area is strange as well. So again, there's more to it. That particular area, a lot of people don't realise that Winchester, Hampshire, that's where the crop circle story kind of started
Mm.
in the 1980s up until about 1990, I suppose. Most of the crop circles happen to be in around Chilbolton, Winchester area, and they seem to migrate later on to Wiltshire. So all around Winchester, there were quite a few cases of people seeing strange lights in the sky. Quite a few really interesting stories about UFO encounters all around that area, that
Yeah.
spot. And I'm talking about a 10-mile radius from Chilbolton. Um, I mean, I've just briefly I've made some little notes here, but um, um, the first one, what was it? 1976. An elderly couple were driving um, just outside Winchester, and they saw this strange light behind a hedge. Um, then they took a turning, started driving down this lane. Then their car apparently veered off the lane into a field where they described seeing a cigar-shaped object hovering above the field, and then um, they described this guy. Well, they described me like an astronaut or an alien getting out of this spaceship, walking towards their car. Um, this guy, again, tall guy, 7 foot tall odd, looks through their passenger window. They describe this guy as having like piercing, apparently pink eyes.
He was
Um,
stoned.
yeah, could be. And apparently then they said that the car engine started roaring, that the lights on the car became extremely bright, like the guy, this guy was doing something to the vehicle. Um, it was crazy. But again, this particular account, this is on YouTube. It was filmed at the time. And the couple that tell this story, they come across so genuine. It's like, how if they are acting, I mean, the acting's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
The way they're relating the story. So this was, again, I think about 7 miles from Chilbolton. So that was in 1976. Then we got the Wow signal on 1977. Interestingly, Close Encounters of the Third Kind came out in 1977.
Interesting.
Interesting, yeah. 1983, that's when the crop circle researcher Colin Andrews, that's when he discovered his first crop circle, again, very near Chilbolton. Where else? So, and then we should talk about the face holding the disc. So this was 2001. We got the typical ET alien
The same
face. That was that's 2001. So we've got a recap. We've got the Chilbolton apparatus.
Yeah.
This was August the 13th, 2000. 2001, August the 12th, we've got the galaxy formation, which I've actually got behind me. You should always see that picture.
Which is one of the
reflection,
most spectacular.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would say it's certainly my favourite, hence it's being on the wall. I mean, that's, if you consider that each of these tram lines that are 30 metres apart, so that the whole formation was 270 metres.
Yeah.
With 409 circles.
Wow.
The ground's undulated. It's not, so all 409 circles, they're not even circular. People measured them. Every single one of them is an oval to compensate for the ground not being flat.
Yeah.
That night, apparently it's pouring down with rain. And again, you've got 4 hours of darkness on a wet night on uneven ground, 409 circles, the size of, I think it was 6 football fields. So an interesting year. And then 2 days later, you've got the Chilbolton, just the face in the field there. And then, then we've got, then the day after, that's the 15th, is the ET holding the disc, which I've got in here. Was that one?
That's crazy.
So, and this again is less than 10 miles from Chilbolton. And you've seen this one before?
I have. I just didn't know it was the same time period. That was all happening in the short span of time.
Yeah, interesting time.
It must have been crazy that
so
summer.
These people that are making them out, yeah.
And such an intricate pattern as well.
So to think that there's guys running around. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously to make that. I mean, it's 3D. This time, rather than being made, the face was made with lines. So so the researchers describe it as like a television kind of picture. So it's all straight lines, extremely thin.
Yeah.
To make the face, and the disc is just tufts of flattened and standing crop. and it turns out that this is ASCII code or binary. So the prop that was stood up was like I think was a 1. The flattened prop was a 0, and this researcher, his name is Paul Weige, and he's the chap that he decoded that particular message, and he also worked out the Arecibo message as well. He once he saw it, he realised that was, resembled the message that we sent into space in 1974. And that disc, I've got what it said. It's basically like a warning. So if I just find this for you, because
I have seen that one before, but I didn't know that was happening right in the middle of all the others that was going on. And what's interesting is that they're different faces. There's 2 faces that appear. One is clearly alien, and the other one almost looks human.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, the face at Chilbolton, that does look like it's human. The other one is clearly what we would probably call a grey. Looks like a grey alien. And that would be perhaps similar to so the Arecibo message with the reply, and this like little creature at the bottom. Again, it's got this big head, shorter, about 4 foot
standard,
tall,
classic.
big head. Again, it's standard kind of what we would call a grey alien. So that does look similar to the face, ET face seen at Crabwood in Winchester. But yeah, I've got the disc then, like a CD. It said, beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. Believe. There is good out there. We oppose deception. Conjurate closing. And then there's like a bell sound. So apparently that's what the disc says. When you type in, convert it into binary, that was the message. And that message has been observed several times. So the message, again, we spoke about last time we had that conversation about the TV station radio mast that was hijacked.
Yeah.
So that again, that's that particular area mast. Again, that's within 10 miles from Chilbolton. That's again the same area.
Yeah.
And part of that message was very similar to this. So in fact, I've got that. Let's find that.
Yeah, it's fascinating that this area is such high activity and high importance for communication with other species, alien species.
Yeah. Weird, isn't it? It's so weird. But yeah, the message that was 1977 at a place called Hannington. 10 miles from Chilbolton. And that speech that this guy called himself Rilon.
Yeah.
Interesting that in his speech, he says towards the end, be aware that there are also many false prophets and guides at present operating on your world. They will suck your energy from you, the energy you call money, and put it to evil ends. giving you worthless dross in return. So a similar message to the disc.
Cost of living crisis.
Yeah.
It all makes sense.
And yeah, that's it.
The Bank of England.
And there was another one. Again, this one, there was another message in that hardly anyone knows about this particular one. This is 1991. And it was in the field below Milk Hill, so below the galaxy formation.
Yeah.
And this was in written in text. And it's only been quite recent that someone's worked out the translation of it. And it turns out that the message is written in post-Augustan Latin. So, it's a language that was used sort of 400 AD. So why anyone would write a text in a crops in a field in Latin, beggars belief. But the message says, we oppose acts of craft and cunning. And I can show you whether that will show up on there.
Yeah, I can see. Wow, I've never seen that before.
So most people haven't, and why would you? But because again, that was cut out within 24 hours.
Yeah.
But so obscure. So where there's a link to all this, I don't know. But
yeah, it's interesting that there was a time period that was so prominent, which is around 2001. There's an area that is so prominent, which is that area around Winchester, Chilbolton. And I also think one of the theories people have for crop circles is almost like a vibration, like energetic vibration, and that's why we get these geometric patterns. But these aren't what you would call geometric patterns. Like the one behind you is geometric, and you could maybe have the idea that something was coming from inside the earth that was affecting the crops. But these are literally messages. They're not just spirals or elaborate patterns. These are messages. These seem very
Some
deliberate.
Stuff you could, at a long stretch, you could call perhaps you could say maybe it's natural, maybe it's something we don't understand.
Yeah.
Because nature does produce patterns.
Yeah.
But nature doesn't produce pictures, does it? It doesn't,
Or Latin.
Or Latin, yeah. It's so complex.
So, why do you think 2001 was so important? Around 2000, 2001.
I don't know. The crop circle numbers seem to be at their highest between sort of 1991 and probably around about sort of 2010. But why that particular period, I don't know. What's going on in the world at that particular time? I got no idea.
Yeah, well, there were significant things that did happen in 2001, not long after August 2001.
Right.
In September 2001.
Oh, September, yeah. So, yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting.
9/11.
Which changed the world, really. And there's lots of speculation about that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I have obviously. I've thought about that as well. Yeah. Yeah. Often these crop circles are found if there's significant solar flares or particular celestial events or sometimes world events, as you say, like 9/11. I've noticed that if there's like something like a big earthquake in the world, there can be a crop circle on that particular day or the day before that particular disaster.
Yeah.
But
So it leaves quite a few
weird.
questions. Who's sending the message? Why they're choosing to send the message this way? How they send the message this way? Why they are choosing this particular random spot of England to send such profound messages? And yeah, why 2001 seemed to be such a big year for those kind of messages.
Yeah. And they're persistent, aren't they? I mean, they're not. They don't seem to be giving up. Although the numbers of these crop circles has declined rapidly in the
Yeah.
last few years, but they do. Whatever's behind this, and also I've been thinking maybe it isn't but just one. If they are made by some ET, it might not be just one particular race. There could be various
Yeah,
different races, and
with different
that's why you're
faces.
getting different different phases, different designs,
Yeah.
and maybe they're not all intended for us. I think some of them seem to be for our attention, but are they all for our benefit, or only some of them for our benefit, or
Huh. What
who
if
knows?
phase one was trying to talk to phase two and was just using our planet as a whiteboard?
Yeah, who knows? Could
Who
be.
knows?
It could be onto something.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've spoken to several people about this, back to the Chilbolton one, and obviously most people will say, "Okay, it's just hoax made by people." Someone told me, it was probably made by the people in the observatory. The people that were actually working on the telescope. So maybe it's the staff in there. And you think, well, really, they've got nothing better to do. So the staff at Chilbolton come up with this plan to make one design in the crop, a crop
Mm.
circle of a device or piece of apparatus. Following year, Arecibo code and an alien face. Really? I mean,
And then
who
they
knows?
got made
But
redundant, and then they didn't do it again, or they quit their job, or they moved. Why
yeah,
would they stop doing it? If you're that good, if you were a landscape gardener and you were that
yeah,
good, you would want people to know about it, and you would want
yeah,
it to profit you. You wouldn't do
yeah,
it for a laugh
yeah.
and then just leave and never do it again.
So again, that's another argument of mine. So no one's come forward.
Yeah.
It's in 20, 30 years. No one's come forward saying, "Yeah, we made that." Um, doesn't make sense. Doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. Uh,
Well, I wonder what December has in store for us with the close
who knows?
passing
We've got
of
these drones flying around that no one
yeah,
knows what they are, all over the world.
yeah,
Shutting down airports. These things apparently can just fly over our military bases and our airports, and we could do nothing about it. Apparently, only recently I read on the BBC News that they're trying to get permission now to shoot these things down.
mm,
So that could prove interesting. I mean, if you do obviously shoot one of these things down, whatever they are, then surely then you can work out where it's coming from.
yeah,
Say made in Taiwan, or maybe there's some kind of, we can work out what it's from.
yeah, which is still a
But
very
I think there's
important
more
thing
to
for us
it.
to do. Yeah. Well, we have seen
Mm.
that there were unidentified objects, UAPs, UFOs, that they shot missiles at that just deflected off. So
Mm.
if they are man-made drones, and I
Yeah,
think they could probably deal with them, but if they're not man-made, and our weapons seem to be useless against them, then, it's an interesting one, because we might actually already have them on this planet. They could be living amongst us. But if they have craft here that we can't really do much about, are they here peacefully? Are they here for research? Do they have like a long-term strategy to infiltrate? Do they want to invade? Or are they just happy to just chill here and let us develop on our own path? And are there multiple different races? Maybe one's coming on 3i Atlas to have a big party.
I think I think it's going to be very likely there's going to be multiple different races. I think they're already here. I think they've been here forever. Keeping an eye on us. And I think we're on that pivot now. We're at a very dangerous time with what's going on in the world. And I think that's why I think we're seeing these things more so now. Because we're on, I hate to say it, but we're on the edge of World War III here with what's going on in Russia. And so I think they are possibly like saying, we're watching what you're up to, and we're behaving like bad school, bad children, misbehaving with our gadgets and causing trouble. And hopefully, if it comes to it, hopefully they step in. Could be a good thing.
Maybe that's what they're on course for. Maybe that's what 3i Atlas' purpose is to sort the mess out. Yeah. I'm going to ask you one question to finish on. You don't have to answer it if you don't want. I understand it might be controversial, but do you think Donald Trump is an alien in disguise?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, without doubt. Yeah, I think it's just a rubber mask.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he must be orange underneath. Great. Well, I appreciate...
that would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I appreciate your time once again. I've really enjoyed talking to you about all these topics. You're always such a great source of knowledge.
Yeah,
and
pleasure.
We'll see what the rest of the year holds for this human race and this planet.
Yeah. Watch this space. Hopefully see you soon.
Yeah, we will be watching space.
Yeah, we can talk again.
Yeah, that is the point. All right, thank you, Simon. Appreciate it, and talk to you soon.
Great. Thanks, Joe.
Right,
good to see you.
So if you found this episode out of this world, don't forget to like and subscribe. And see you next time.